Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tonight, before we have our annual or our nightly prayer before service, we'd like to have a moment of silence for the Sexton family, an employee, Wendy Sexton, who passed away last week.
Dear Lord, thank you for everyone here tonight. We realize how precious life is, particularly since losing colleagues and friends who served our city so faithfully. May we remember John Peters and Wendy Sexton in our prayers, and say an extra prayer for Dusty Sexton, her husband, who's recovering in the hospital. We also thank you, Lord, for all the people who want to get involved in government that are sitting here tonight. Sometimes things go our way and sometimes they don't, but we need to remember to always be friends. Thank you, Lord, for all the blessings you have given each and every one of us here. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I'd like to call this meeting to order this evening. We will start roll call. Ms. Kuhn?
Foster.
Here.
Call.
Here.
Colby.
Here.
Ryan Peters.
Here.
Biggs. Here. Bob.
Here. The next portion will be visitors and recognitions. Mayor Evans.
Thank you, President Fulks. And as you mentioned earlier, for the second meeting in a row, we are mourning the loss of someone here in our city family, Wendy Butler Sexton. She's worked for the city for 23 years, and for the year and a half since I've been here as mayor, she was just an excellent employee in the auditor's office. She has been our go-to person. Sorry, Mr. Reed. She has been our go-to person for everything financial in this city. Not only are we going to miss her personally, but she's going to be hard to replace. Right, Mr. Reed? Going to be very difficult to replace. Earlier tonight, the Central Committee of the Republican Party met to name a replacement for Councilman Peters, who passed away just previous to our last council meeting. And they took a vote. They had advertised for anybody who might be interested in that position from the second ward. And they had one person express interest to the Central Committee, and they voted and selected that person earlier this evening. So at our next meeting, we will be swearing in new councilman. And he's here tonight to introduce to you Mr. Harold Newkirk. If you'll stand, this will be our... he's here with his wife, Alice. Because she's part of it too, you know. So welcome, and they'll be joining us. They voted tonight, Central Committee did, but it's not official till it goes to the Board of Elections tomorrow. So we'll have him on board next week. That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Fulks.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it. Council, next item on the agenda is the minutes from the August 9th meeting. You have them in your packet. Is there any corrections or objections to things presented to council in the minutes? Hearing none, is there a motion to accept?
Also move.
Ms. Colby made a motion. Is there a second? Ms. Biggs, second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Next, we'll move into committee reports. Our first committee report, we'll start with utility. Mr. Call, Ms. Colby, if you have anything to bring forward for the utility committee?
I don't.
No, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Call, Ms. Colby. Next, budget and finance, Ms. Biggs.
No report.
Thank you, Ms. Biggs. Next, we have police, fire, and traffic, Ms. Colby.
No report.
Thank you. And Ryan Peters on service.
We had a service meeting before the regular council meeting to discuss our franchise agreements that we have for our dumpster and rollaway contract that we have through Rumpke. There's been several other smaller local businesses reach out to ask us to revisit the franchise agreement that we have for that. It was, I think, the consensus of the committee to move forward with looking at revising that. We'll be working with the administration on the next step. So that's really all I have to report at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Peters. Next, we'll step,
I have,
Mr.
I
Foster.
have on service. The picnic tables at Hammertown and Eddie Jones Park on Harding Avenue need some attention. Had a report last week that a gentleman got out of his canoe at Hammertown and sat down on a picnic table. He fell to the ground. So, if we could do something about that. And then also, too, a lot of people might not be aware of this, but the town has more and more homeless people. And really, everybody's got it. And a lot of them are residing at Harding Avenue. I visit that park 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, and there's a lot of people running around there. And they're sleeping on the picnic tables at night, but there's really, like I say, nothing you can do about it, And I had a strange situation last Tuesday or Wednesday morning after the storm. I was down there and lightning hit one of the trees, okay, and there was a power line down, so I called that in. And as I called that in, I had a woman coming out of that tree walking towards me, dressed all in black. And she had a black eye too. And she came up to me and she whispered to me and she says, "I'd like to politely ask you to leave." She said, "This power line's down this tree." I said, "I'm calling it in now." So, strange things. That's all I've got.
Thank you. Is anyone else? We'll move on to auditor's report. Mr. Reed?
The only thing I'd have, the mayor had mentioned Wendy, and I appreciate that. And he said as far as the auditor, she was a functioning auditor. I was a manager of people. She will be very, very hard to replace. The city, we've kept up with things, POs, requisitions. There's some backline stuff that is a lot more difficult. We're digging into that. I've been in contact with the state and also with our current auditors. I've got help offered from several entities, but this next couple months period until this can be fixed, set up, will be a very difficult time for our office and for the city. Ask for patience there. She was a great colleague. I worked with Wendy for 23 years. I was on council for 10, budget and finance, and worked with her. And it's going to take a lot to replace it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Mr. Kirby?
I have nothing to report.
Mayor's report, Mayor Evans?
Again, tonight, we are offering this meeting broadcast to the public through the normal Spectrum Channel 1024 and also available through the City of Jackson Facebook site or through the city website. We can go on there and click on and watch it on YouTube. I had good reports from when we did that 2 weeks ago. I think we're maybe reaching some more people and some better quality to it. So we're going to continue to do that into the future. Well, I said last time was a test. We think it went well. We're going to keep doing it into the future. So just update you on that. Also on the projects that we're working on, as you've probably all seen, we've got started on our paving project. We got just a good start on it, and I had an issue with a breakdown on the paver. So it's being repaired. We expect them back later, yet this week, to get started back on it. I mentioned to you last time, when we get the 9 streets that we have selected, we're going to then plan is to go and pave part of the cemetery that we have planned for this year. Cemetery, what hasn't been paved out there, we plan to do half of it this year and half of it next year, to where we'll have it all repaved in with the money that had been set aside for that. And then this year, there's an ordinance, I'll talk about it more when it comes up, but where we hope to pass legislation tonight to do some additional paving while we have the paver back in town. So I can answer more questions about that then. Also, we are already preparing a list of priority streets for next year. So I want to put the offer out there to anyone on council, especially the ward councilman, but anyone, if you want to prioritize a list of streets that you think need to be paved, then turn it in to me. We had a list. The list we had for this year, obviously, we didn't get near all of it done. We're going to hopefully get a few more. We've already got many streets listed that will start our year for next year. We're going to go ahead and get that list together now. So in the next week or two, any list of streets that you want to prioritize that you think need paved, turn that in to David or I. We'll add that to our list for consideration. And then what we do from there, just so you know, we take input from all of our department heads. Many of them deal with the street daily, like Mr. Hatton, but we take input from all of them. They all have some connection to it, and combine that with the input that that David and I give, and come up with which streets get paved first. Our priority is streets that are heavily used and streets that are in the worst condition in the first year or two here, and then eventually we plan to get them all, but it's going to take a while. Every street in Jackson needs paved. We plan to get them all, but it's going to take a while. I can't tell you how long. Somewhere between 5 and 10 years is my best estimate. But that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
You were saying about additional paving, and we talked about this several times already. The intersection of State, Bridge, Walnut, is that something that we could try to get fixed now instead of
That is actually one of that intersection, and the streets leading both ways from there is one that are on the list that we didn't get to this year, that might be one of the ones we select in this additional paving for this year.
I mean, even just the intersection, little,
I know it's bad.
I mean,
Yeah, it's high on our list.
Also the raised there at Bennett too on State,
Yes.
Prosper Road, yes.
Yep.
Okay.
And feel free, anytime you guys want to, we know that, just like I told you before, the 9 streets we picked for the first 9 were the wrong 9. We know that. So feel free, anytime you guys have, no, we don't think it was, but we know some people think it was. I mean, we can't do them all, and we can't make everybody happy, but feel free to give us your input on that at any time, on where you
Ralph and
think.
Harris.
Huh?
Ralph and Harris.
So feel free to give us input on that anytime. but certainly would like for you to make a list, what you think would like to add, for what, in your opinion, should be prioritized in year 2.
Mr. Cole?
I mentioned at the last meeting about the railroad crossings. You were correct, David. The ones that have been paved now are in perfect condition. Best we've ever had.
Thank you, sir.
Hope that holds true.
Well, we got a good paving contractor for one reason, that helps. And Roy Hatton's been right out there watching them every day, all day long. I think he put in about 60 hours last week.
I heard, I think I even saw a guy named Randy Evans out sort of supervising a couple of times, so appreciate that, Mr. Mayor.
I keep an eye on him when I can, but Roy Hatton's been there the whole time, pretty much.
Any other questions? Mr. Bott?
I just would echo what the mayor just said. I was out at about 10:30 and that paving company was still working, trying to get the job done, all done in one day. That was on,
Tuesday when they started.
right. I mean, they put forth a tremendous effort to get the job done so that it was the least amount of traffic congestion that they possibly could, and they are to be commended for what they did.
Yeah, they hit Huron Street
Huh?
at 5 till 7 on Tuesday morning.
But
They were still
I'm saying
going, still working at 9 o'clock.
and after
Tuesday.
10 o'clock
Yes.
at night, they were still working.
Yes.
Any other comments or questions for the mayor? Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Swikammer?
I'm going to pick up a little bit of where the mayor left off. When you're looking at these streets to take into consideration, we need to check storm catch basins, curbs, gutters. We don't want to just hit it with pavement and then not address some of these other things. Also, if it's on our list of priorities for some sewer or water line repairs, we don't want to pave and then tear them up. So even though we may skip some things and they may not make sense, ask some questions. There usually is a good reason of why things are in the order they are. We want to do this right. We don't want to have to redo it, tear it up and stuff. So next thing, believe it or not, it's time to start thinking about the 22 budget already. So Deb, I believe you head up the Budget and Finance Committee.
Yes.
I would like sometime between now and the end of September to get some feedback from the committee and let you meet with the other members to things that you would like to see addressed, any concerns you had coming out of the 21 budget, so that those could be taken into consideration when we start putting together the 22 budget.
Thank you. I'm going to do that.
Also, I gave Mr. Wilson a copy. I'm going to paraphrase from it a little bit. I got a communication today from AMP. AMP is the city's electric provider, and based upon the upcoming weather forecast, they believe that possibly Wednesday of this week, that's the 25th, in the afternoon, may be setting what's called the 1 CP peak. And this will go into a little bit more definition. What that does is actually sets our transmission bill for all of 2022. And so we're asking for people, all of our customers, to voluntarily help us during that period of time. Right now we're looking at between 1 and 6 p.m. on Wednesday the 25th. Has nothing to do with the amount of electric available or the quality of the grid service. It's just that those peak periods is when we get hit with these charges that impact us for 2022. So I got a copy here that we'll be posting on our 3 media sites. I've given Mr. Wilson a copy as well. So anyone that is a City of Jackson electric user that can help us out during that period of time, and if the dates or times change, as soon as I get that information, I'll relay that on. We'll get it out on our city sites. This can impact our rates next year, and it's something that I don't think we've looked at in the past as much as we should have, as far as when we get these notices. I started to put in some of the communications out there. People didn't understand really what they meant when we put them on our websites. I think we've put enough communication out there so people understand what peak shaving is. And again, help us, help you by keeping our electric rates as low as possible. And again, if the dates or times change, I'll get something additional out there on the city's websites. I know Mr. Wilson and the other media outlets are very good at following the city's media sites and passing it on. That's all I have, sir.
Questions?
This isn't a question, but with the service director's report and the mayor, I can't, the streets are wonderful. Marvin and I have been talking about, we were just riding down them on purpose, there's no bumps or anything. But on top of that, the flowers uptown are so gorgeous this year that they're such an asset to our city. They're just gorgeous. And I really want to give kudos for the Kiwanis Club, and I know Kurt and Judy Wiggins are two of the big movers in that club because they are watering not just once, but sometimes twice a day. And I didn't know whether we could actually do some kind of proclamation or something for them because, my goodness, they are just gorgeous. Just a thought.
Thank you.
Mr. President?
Mr. Peters?
Just one other question. The light at the end of South Street, Main Street, I don't know if it's just me or a certain time of the day, but I don't know if I don't think the light's working properly because I've seen since our last meeting, I've almost been hit there myself like 3 times. So the light's green, but I don't think it's red on the other side. It's like they turn green at the same time. So I happen to look back, the car goes by, I look up, my light's green, and then I look again, I look up and the light's red. So it's like, in the time that I almost was T-boned there, the light turned red again. So I don't know if someone could look at that, but I thought it was just coincidence, but it's happened to me about 3 or 4 times, and I don't know about anybody else reached out to you about that, but.
Should we ask
Yes,
Thacker?
I'll get that information
Yes.
over to Mr. Thacker.
Pretty busy intersection, and that's pretty dangerous
Yeah.
if that's not working properly.
I think it's just you, Ryan, but we'll have it checked.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the service director? Hearing none, we'll move on then to our ordinance and resolutions portion. We'll begin with ordinance 5321. This is third reading. Ms. Kuhn?
An ordinance repealing and amending Chapter 731 of the codified ordinances of the City of Jackson to govern transient merchants.
Is there discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Kuhn?
Foster.
No.
Hall.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Ryan Peters.
Yes.
Biggs.
Yes. Bob.
Yes.
Ordinance 5321 is duly adopted. On first reading, our next is ordinance 5521. Ms. Kuhn?
An ordinance authorizing the Service and Safety Director to advertise for sale and to sell to the highest and best bidders the following vehicles: the DT-466 International Dump Truck and 1996 Ford 555D backhoe, now owned by the city but no longer needed for a municipal purpose pursuant to RC Section 721.15 and declaring an emergency.
Thank you, Ms. Kuhn. Could I have a motion to accept ordinance 5521 as presented to the council? Mr. Foster, motion. Second. Ms. Biggs? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Discussion. Mr. Swackhammer.
Yes. These 2 vehicles have issues that we cannot address any longer. A dump truck, for example, has got a frame rail crack that we can no longer mend, and the backhoe has been repaired so many times that we're actually having troubles getting parts for it. I am going to ask council consider passing this as an emergency so that we can have time to advertise it with the others that you passed in the last one. so that we can do it in the upcoming auction at the end of September. So if council has no questions about this and our agreement, in order to allow us to advertise all of the vehicles at one time, I would ask them to consider that.
Is there any discussion to what Mr. Schweikhammer brought forward?
Mr. President?
I have a question.
Oh, hold on one second, Dan. Hold on one second. Go ahead, Ryan.
So their estimated values of $1,000 or greater, what happened, is that where the bidding starts? And then what happens if they don't sell?
I have to, anything that we feel has a dollar value of over $1,000, we have to go through this process to get permission to sell them. Once they go to auction, they'll go to auction for whatever they bring.
Mr. Call?
What about the other vehicles that are down there on the city lot? Do we own
We
those?
have about 40 vehicles in the impound lot that is being prepped right now for the city's auction coming up right now. The date hasn't been scheduled, but we're looking at the end of September. That's why we're trying to pull all these vehicles
Okay,
together.
all right, thank you very much.
Any other questions for Mr. Schweikhammer? Mr. Foster?
Suspend the rules.
Motion to suspend the rules by Mr. Foster. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Call. Discussion. Ms. Kuhn?
Foster.
Yes.
Call.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Ryan Peters.
Yes.
Biggs. Yes. Bach.
Yes.
Is there any further discussion? Ms. Kuhn?
Foster.
Yes.
Call.
Yes.
Yes.
Ryan Peters.
Yes.
Biggs. Yes. Bach.
Yes.
Ordinance 5521 has duly adopted. Next, we have Resolution 3221. This is second reading, I believe. Ms. Kuhn?
A resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor and declaring an emergency.
Discussion.
Just a quick question. The timing is okay on this?
If we've got time tonight, if we could, but I would rather get this done so we can get it back, unless somebody has questions on the numbers are given to us and we're just sending them back to the county.
I would say that it'd probably be a good idea for us to suspend the rules, because if we don't get these certified, then
Correct.
we're in trouble.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Peters, is there a second? Ms. Colby? Discussion. Ms. Kuhn?
Foster.
Yes.
Call.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Ryan Peters.
Yes.
Biggs. Yes. Bach.
Yes.
Further discussion. Ms. Kuhn?
Foster.
Yes.
Call.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Ryan Peters.
Yes.
Biggs. Yes. Bach.
Yes.
Resolution 3221 is duly adopted. Next on first reading is Resolution 3421. Ms. Kuhn?
Resolution of the Legislative Authority of the City of Jackson, Ohio, to authorize the Service Director to enter an agreement with G&J Paving Incorporated for additional street paving in an amount not to exceed $150,000, as it is now finishing its current work on the 2021 City of Jackson Street Paving Program and is on site with employees and equipment and declaring an emergency.
Can I have a motion to adopt Resolution 3321 as presented to, or, I'm sorry, 3421 as presented to the council?
So moved.
Ms. Biggs, motion, second by Mr. Call. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Discussion.
This is what I mentioned to you in the mayor's report. Earlier, council had appropriated $600,000 for this paving program. That was what the auditor's office and the administration thought we could safely do and stay within the amount that the income tax is going to provide. We put out the bid and hired G&J Contracting. It was right around $450,000. They were the low bidder. So while we have them on site, we would like to go ahead and pave up to another $150,000 worth of streets at the same contract price as they already bid, instead of rebidding it. That's why we ask you to pass this, and that's why we're also going to ask you to pass this as emergency, because they'll be back in town later this week.
Discussion.
I move we suspend the rules.
Quick question, what additionally are you gonna pave
Another 3 or 4 streets.
specifically?
We don't have them selected yet. We've got about 6 or 8 streets that we're trying to decide from, but they all would be high on your list, I'm sure. And a couple of them we've mentioned tonight already.
I move to suspend the rules in order to enable additional paving in the city of Jackson.
Second.
Second by Mr. Call. Ms. Biggs? Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Coon?
Foster.
Yes.
Call.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Ryan Peters.
Yes.
Biggs.
Yes.
Pop.
Yes.
Further discussion? Ms. Coon?
Foster.
Yes.
Call.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Ryan Peters.
Yes.
Biggs.
Yes.
Pop.
Yes.
Resolution 3421 is duly adopted. Our last resolution for the evening is Resolution 3521, first reading. Ms. Coon?
A resolution of the legislative authority of the city of Jackson, Ohio, directing the Director of Safety and Service to enter into a purchase agreement with Reichert Properties Incorporated for the purchase of a 2021 Ford F-550 dump truck in an amount not to exceed $89,968 without formal bidding requirements and declaring an emergency.
Can I have a motion to adopt Resolution 3521 as presented to the council?
Let's do it up.
Mr. Foster, is there a second? Mr. Bop? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Discussion.
This truck is to replace the truck that we're putting in the auction. In the previous motion, that has the broken frame and is considered irreparable. It's basically a rusted out piece of junk. We tried to take bids on this. We tried to buy local. The local dealer cannot get us a truck like this year. There's a severe shortage, as you all know. We had located a different truck from this. Actually, after the last council meeting, the week before last, and it's already gone. We located a second truck, and we would like to purchase it and have it in time for this winter's use because of the one that we're taking out of service. We did get another bid on this price that was more than this one, so we feel like we've done our due diligence in trying to spend our money wisely. But we want council to pass this on this emergency basis as it's written, because we really can't get bids and take them the way we normally would like to. We can't do that and get a truck for this year. We don't even know that we can get people to bid on it. So this truck they are holding for us until we see what happens tonight. So I know y'all don't like to pass stuff on the first reading, but we're going to ask you to do that again for, if this truck goes, we've done a lot of homework on this. I don't think we'll have another truck for this winter.
Right. This is a very versatile truck. The city has one now,
Yeah.
and about every city employee would like to have one. Very good truck.
Well, you want to add, we're probably going to add the same thing here, so I'll let David speak.
Oh, well, I just wanted to make it clear, we're not asking for additional money out of the budget. We had budgeted for a truck. This is under the amount that we had budgeted. So we're asking, because of the shortage of trucks that are out there, to be able to go ahead and make the purchase. Because, like I said, we've went to dealerships. We can't even get them to give us a quote. We've went to the state bid. There's just not trucks out there right now. And so we're very fortunate we found one and found somebody that's willing to hold one until this decision's made tonight. And I know if we don't pass it tonight, this truck's going to be going.
Right.
Good question.
I have a couple of questions. You said it's in the budget. Where is it coming from in the budget? Who's paying for the truck?
Actually, it's coming from 6 different line items. If you're in, and it's actually on the line item part of the budgets that you guys saw,
I remember now.
Yep.
Another question. This happened before, not under your administration, but we bought a truck, and then once we bought the truck, we had to fit the truck, meaning we had to buy all these pieces for it. What are we buying?
Okay. If you remember last year's budget, there was $180,000 in there for a dump truck, and I can remember the question, we're paying $180,000 for a dump truck? Well, and I think I told you after the meeting, no, we're not. But this is that item that was put in the budget. This is under $90,000. What was put in there was for a heavier a big truck, a 2-ton dump truck with a snow plow and a salt spreader and all that. We've decided that this is a smaller dump truck. This is a 1-ton Ford 550. We've decided it's more, the city has, it's more versatile for use by various departments throughout the year and not just for snow plowing. This truck already has a snow plow on it, already has a dump bed on it, and already has a salt spreader on it. It's ready to go. We have went to the dealership, Roy Hatton, who is in charge of our services department and runs our snow removal process. We've went and looked at it. About everything about it suits what he would like to have and what the city really needs. So for almost half of what we budgeted and what had been used on a previous one, we're getting this. We think it's a very wise decision also.
That's all I had, thank you.
Ms. Biggs?
The other truck we have, is it a 1-ton or 2-ton?
We have a 1-ton that was purchased a few years ago, and we have a 2-ton that was purchased a few years ago that we'd hope to get another one like it this year. We also have a 1-ton that's maybe 12 years ago. This is almost identical to it. So this will be a third snowplow truck, the one big one and the 2 smaller ones.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the mayor or the service director? Is there a motion to suspend the rules?
Motion to suspend the rules.
Mr. Foster, is there a second? Ms. Colby? Ms. Coon, I want to keep wanting to say Ms. Biggs, I'm sorry.
Foster.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Brian Peters.
Yes.
Biggs.
Yes.
Bach.
Yes.
Is there discussion? Ms. Coon?
Foster.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Brian Peters. Biggs.
Yes.
Bach.
Yes.
Resolution 3521 is duly adopted. That concludes our ordinances and resolutions we have for this evening. Next on the agenda is correspondence. We have none. Is there any old business to be brought before the council? Ms. Biggs?
The last meeting we had several people who, with heartfelt, were talking about the cemetery and the decorations. And it has come to my attention that there was some misunderstanding or information that wasn't quite right. And I just wanted to give the people the right information. Helps to make good decisions. But we were told in the first one, it's hard to find when ordinances are passed way back. And we were told that the ordinance concerning decorating graves and such was 2010. And that turns out that's not accurate. The first ordinance that I'm looking at, I'm going to read it to you. This is a codified ordinance, was passed in 1190, and it says planting of shrubbery and trees prohibited. The planting of rose bushes, barberry, large shrubbery or trees of any kind, size, or type prohibited. And then the next one was passed in 10/26/98 on cornerstones. And it said, cornerstones shall not exceed 8 inches in width and shall not extend above the ground level. Borders or curbing or any type of fencing, either permanent or temporary, are not allowed. And I just bring this information and not to, break open wounds or anything, but these are ordinances that have been passed by nobody on this council. So let me make that perfectly clear, because that's another piece of information that's not accurate. No one on this council were part of this ordinance, but I think they had a reason even back then when they passed these, was looking at the upkeep of our cemetery and the mowing and the weed eating and everything. So they were passed before that 2010 ordinance, and they have not been enforced as they should have been, but if we decide that this is the way, the best way to keep our cemetery mowed and weeded, so people aren't growling because it's not weeded properly or mowed properly, then we need to enforce this. And that won't be popular for many people. That will not be, and I do understand that, and I do sympathize. But if this is an ordinance is a law, and we are to enforce it. And this was passed long before any of us got on here. So I would just like to bring that information.
Thank you, Ms. Biggs. Any other old business to be brought before council? Hearing none. Next, we have signed in visitors to speak, and I think we have 3. We'll start, I think the first person is Mrs. Eggers. Is that correct? If you'll step to the microphone, and I believe it's on there, if you'll speak into it so they can hear.
Yes.
Go right ahead.
First of all, I'm not a huge speaker, okay? That's not really my strong suit. But I can promise you, whenever we talk about ordinance and things that are in law and things that are there, I feel like that if you have something there at the cemetery, you think differently, and it puts in little more things into perspective. I'll just read a couple of things that I wrote, okay? I am here regarding the fact that I had a sign placed on my son's, on the cemetery, on my son's monument. The only thing that's on my son's monument, his monument's there. I have a couple spotlights. So I have the sign placed there that said that everything's going to be put into place. There's nothing around his monument, nothing at all. But believe me when I say, I never asked to be on this tragic road that I'm on. I stand in disbelief every single day that I lost my 18-year-old child. And when I go to the cemetery every single day, I see his picture there, and I can promise you, it's something that no parent ever wants to go through. So your sign, I can promise you, my first thought is to chuck it, I'm promising you. Because first of all, I go there every day. My husband mows the lawn. Okay? We take care of the whole entire thing. I don't ask anybody to do anything. I purchased those lots. Those weren't given to me for free. We have 6 lots there. You don't have to weed eat. You don't have to take care of anything at all. We take care of all of it. So changing my child's things and putting things out there, his friends come there all the time to place things on there. I remove them. They replace flowers. They put all kinds of stuff there. When the real flowers die that they place, I remove them. I take them off. There's nothing around there. So changing Joshua's monument and changing stuff around there is something that I can do as purpose as a mom. That's what I have left. And it helps me knowing that I am able to do that. So your sign was not okay. And if you have something that you would like to say, for the fact is that, sure, we would like to hear your thoughts. I don't know that you really, if you have something that you want to say, I want to know your thoughts. Put a sign up and say, hey, come and talk to me. We have a couple things that we have problems with. Not the fact is that you put your sign and say, we're going to remove your stuff after September 1st. Not okay. Sorry to tell you.
About 10 seconds, please.
So if you have no idea what it's like to make sure that you change your child's monument and you change the things around it every season, if you don't know what it's like to shop for those, count your blessings. Count your lucky star that that's not you changing your 18-year-old child's monument and then changing the seasons of that. And I think that's really all that I have.
Thank you, Ms. Eggers. Next, Mr. Warner.
Okay, I agree with Marcia, and my husband and my son is buried over at the cemetery, and I take care of their lots. I weed eat the whole lot. I take care of them. The cemetery, the people there do not have to take care of them at all. And I went over and I seen that sign on my lot, and it's neat all the time, and I just could not understand why they had that sign on my lot. And I also, this past week, that when I went over there, that the order name on my son's tombstone is in stainless steel, and it was laying on the ground. So a mower or something had to hit that and knock that off. And it's about this big, and it's solid stainless steel. So now we have to have that put back on. And I agree that some of the lots do look bad. And I feel that there's probably a lot of people that live away from here, and they don't take care of the lots. They come in maybe at Christmas and Memorial Day and they decorate them, but then they don't come back. So I don't think this is fair to the ones that do take care of the lots. And the only thing I know, the reason why they put that sign on my lot is because I have a little bit like bricks that come around to the front, and I don't put anything on the ground. It all goes in there if I put anything on, like flowers or anything. It goes in that center section of those bricks. So I'm just speaking for everybody at the cemetery and hope that the Mayor Evans and the council, that you have a, second thought on this. I know, it's hard when you have your child over there. And I agree with Marcia. And I go up there all the time. But I hope you have second thoughts.
Thank you, Ms. Warner. Third, Mrs. Coy?
Well, if you found dates that was back when, 99, when we bought the lots, I don't know, is that what you were saying, there was rules
That's what I found, yes.
for 99? Well, you know what?
90 and 98.
When?
90 and 98.
Okay. Rules can be broke. They can be changed. I mean, I'm sure all of you got a heart. I'm sure everybody's had deaths in their family. And there has to be a way to solve this besides that. He's got pictures. I give David pictures. Yes, I don't know if you can pass them around and let them see. Pictures of my mom and my two brothers' lots. And also, there's a picture in there. There's a row behind my mom, and I've got it marked. There's a row behind my mom. There's two graves there. And if you look at the grass that's growed around there, and then there's a veteran and a fireman. You can see the grass is all growed around their flags, their markers. And I hope, if I have to remove my stuff, I hope to God my mother's lots don't look like that. And then in the back of the book, the last 2 pages, was how I went and found my mother, my two brothers' graves, where they was covered up from being mowed. And, but I did go talk to the office, and they have taken care of that right now. I hope it don't happen again. But I believe people smart enough that they can figure this out.
Thank you, Ms. Coy.
And I don't know if Mr. Kirby found out anything. Did you give your notes to her?
I did research it. I don't know that it's terribly enlightening, but I don't know that the timing of the rules make a big difference because of the nature of the right with a cemetery lot. It's less than full ownership, but certainly council can consider that however they want. But generally, it's an easement right that you'd have, so council does have the right to manage it, but you have the right to monumentation and all of that as well.
To give up my, temporary give up my parental care, that I would take care of it. And at my death or illness, then you can start it back up again. But I would like to take care of my mother's and my two brothers' grave. And I don't see a problem with that. No question, no answers? Are you guys going to discuss this, or are we just up here talking?
I think we probably will once you're done. We don't want to interrupt you.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Thank you, Ms. Coy.
I would like to.
Mayor?
I mean, first of all, I'd like to apologize to anyone was offended by the signs. Certainly, that wasn't our intent to offend anyone. I know the goal of the administration and, which is the service director and that department head, but then you have department employees too. So the signs were placed by employees, so there could have been some, there's judgment there on whose were compliant and not. But I just want you to know that we certainly didn't mean to offend anyone. We apologize for those who were offended by the signs. Maybe it was, the whole idea was a bad way of getting the word out. The signs I know did say, we need your assistance, because the goal was just to try to make the cemetery look nice, and everybody wants that. So then when we start looking at it, and they, the staff starts looking at it, the rules are not clear at all. So there needs to be work done on the rules. Whether you change them or not, there needs to be clarity, because a lot of the rules, it's just not clear. Some of them are about benches, about bushes, but about flowers, it's really not. I've been asked since our last meeting about whether or not grave blankets are allowed. I can't give a straight answer to that. I don't know. They're usually placed in the fall and removed in the spring to where they don't really interfere with mowing and weed eating. I don't know why we wouldn't allow that, but if you check the rules, some of them from 2010, some of them from way before that, it's not really clear. Other things such as just flowers. I've been told, and I know from my own experience, that many cemeteries offer a time like Memorial Day where people can put flowers on the graves, however many they want, however they want, but then a period of time later they're removed. None of that's mentioned in the rules that we've been able to find. So I really think there needs to be some work done and some clarity given to the rules, because there just isn't much. And it's up to council then, if they want to change some of those rules. But, I know the administration and this council and some people have taken a lot of heat for just trying to do the right thing. Just trying to do their jobs, try to do the right thing. And there was never any ill will, or we certainly never meant to offend anyone in that. But, I know that it's a very difficult, it's a very personal thing. So I understand, the feelings that some of these people have. They can't really speak without, tearing up about it, and I get that. We've dealt with that a lot in the last couple of weeks ourselves right here. So I just want to say I think we got a lot of work to do there yet before we, start actually doing anything physically. And
Well, myself, I never gotten a copy of no rules. I had no rules.
yeah, I don't doubt that for a second. We have trouble finding them ourselves, but we knew they existed. And between the last meeting and this meeting, Debbie's researched and found some new ones, or some older ones. So we got work to do there. We know that. We understand that.
Mr. Peters?
We discussed this, and I knew this would be where we are with this. Personally, which is what I think I said earlier too, is maybe pump the brakes. Let's get some input. I guess the signs did that. But we're running to the end of mowing season. We, as the council, and I'm not speaking for everyone, but everyone has their own opinion of this, but we're tasked sometimes with coming up with rules that we don't have to enforce. That's kind of how government works. It would be better if the folks that have to enforce it could come up with a solution to be debated by this body. We have hit a few hot topics over the last couple years of things that really, are true to people. And I say it a lot, there's not ever a lot of involvement until the ink is dry on the paper. So I would like to see us pump the brakes on it. What's it gonna hurt? We're coming to the end of mowing season. It's been going on for 20 years. Do we need to enforce it? Yes. It's a law. Did anyone sitting at this table partake in setting up said law? No. But we're dealt with the task to fix it. So let's fix it. Let's do the right thing. Let's fix it. But as for council, I don't think it's a good idea for us to say this is what we're going to do when we're not the ones that have to enforce it. So we need to work together, whether we copy someone else, which is, it's an easy thing to do nowadays because we're so far behind the times here in Jackson that a lot of other cities have already crossed this bridge 20 years ago. Let's see what other cities are doing. Let's see what is best practice somewhere else rather than we make a knee-jerk reaction and change it and put ourselves and our citizens and constituents in a situation where it does feel like we're attacking them. It does feel like that, it hasn't been enforced, but it's the same thing. It's like, if there's a stop sign on the corner by my house, and if I run it every day for 30 years, and then one day there's a cop there and I get a ticket, then I still broke the law, but I broke it 100,000 times before that. So I'm not going to digress or anything, but I think that we should pump the brakes. Mowing season's almost over. We need to have a complete overhaul of what we're doing there. This body, we don't have the means to, we have to go ask for the book, you have to go, or you guys have to look it up yourselves. Like the way we do things here is old fashioned. So let's pump the brakes and let's make a decision that everyone can live with, that's fair. And I think it would start by you guys deciding what there is to enforce. Like you said, it's so ambiguous that you don't know, you can't answer people's questions because it's not thorough enough. It's not enough. So.
Thank you, Mr. Peters. Ms. Biggs.
And something, as we regroup and take a look at this, we definitely need the cemetery, the mowers and stuff to guide us in some of this. Because something that we might think looks, well, that should be easy enough if it's there. They're going to say, we have to do 3 turns with a mower to get around that. Well, we didn't know that, and that's time is money. But those kind of people need to be in this discussion. But I agree with Ryan and Mayor Evans. It's vague. Some of it's specific, but it's vague. And it's, if 1990, one of the rules, so we're looking at 30 years old. Well, maybe some of it doesn't apply now. I don't know. We do need to take a look at these and start again.
Where do we get a copy of these rules?
Online.
Yes,
Yeah.
They're in the codified ordinance.
Mr. Swiker.
Ordinance 941. Thank you. This is not a new topic, guys. And what I'm looking and hearing is, okay, we're pumping the brakes. I'm all for that. I want to do that because we want to do what's right. This conversation started over 6 months ago, and we had it in front of council on at least 2 or 3 different occasions and actually asked for a council vote. So I want council to understand that they're now deciding to pump brakes too, because we were doing exactly what council asked us to do and stuff. So,
Mr. President, the concerns that I gave you tonight are the ones that you can, if the minutes are there, the same thing I said tonight, I said then. So I'll stand by what I said.
I just think everybody's close to on the same page. We just need to regroup and take a look. Is everybody going to be happy? I can tell you right now, no. But we're going to
go into it heart first. We'll be happy.
Pardon?
Go into it heart first and we'll be happy. 'Cause that's my heart laying there, it's my mother.
I know, I understand that, I do. My mother's pretty special to me too. But it still isn't gonna make everybody happy, whatever, it's not a possibility.
Well, like I said, I'll give up my temporary rights. I'll take care of my grave. I have all along.
And that may be something, we look at, I don't know. I think the cemetery people definitely have to play a role in this because they're the ones that really have to implement this. They definitely need a voice in this.
Okay. All right, moving on. Next is new business. Is there any new business to be brought before council? Hearing none, I think we are, as council, scheduled to go into executive session. Is there a motion? Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, I just want to ask for this executive session for the reasons stated, so I'd like to ask somebody on council to make that motion. I'd like everybody here at the table to stay. I would also like to invite Mr. Thacker, our IT guy. I told him he could stay or he can be somewhere around there. We got to make sure he's got our new YouTubes working correctly so that they go out when we go in executive session and come back when we come back. So I'd like him to be able to stay, and I'd like our new councilman invite him to stay just to start getting into the heat of it all.
Mr. Peters, you make a motion?
I'll make a motion to go to executive session for preparing for, conducting, or reviewing negotiations of bargaining sessions with public employees concerning their compensation, or other terms and conditions of their employment. And I would also grant the wishes of the mayor of the parties who can stay.
Those supposed to be in attendance. Is there a second? Ms. Biggs? Ms. Kuhn?
Foster.
Yes.
Call.
Yes.
Holden.
Yes.
Ryan Peters.
Yes.
Biggs.
Yes.
Bob.
I thank you all for coming. The meeting will be closed at this point. come back. Okay, we're back in session, regular session. Is there anything else to be brought before council, new business? If hearing nothing to be brought before, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Ms. Biggs, second by Mr. Bopp. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
We pass all
Next meeting will be September the 13th.
everything? Okay, we'll do that.
We have a clean book.
We can do that. Okay, yeah.